But first, news just coming in. 5 Indian soldiers have been killed in South Sudan. Indian peacekeepers, remember, are part of the UN peacekeeping force. They were ambushed while escorting a UN convoy. Indian peacekeepers reportedly were ambushed by Sudanese rebels. Remember, that area particularly has been seeing ethnic conflict. Surya Gangadharan joining us live. Surya, what can you tell us about this latest conflict?
Frankly, very little. The information is just trickling in. All we know is that the convoy was ambushed and the peacekeepers were killed. We don't know if there were any who were injured and what the status is right now. But Jonglei has seen a lot of violence in the recent past, and there's been an Indian battalion which has been stationed there since last year doing a lot of work. But clearly this is the most serious, and as you're aware, last month a major of the same unit was attacked and injured. So clearly this is an insecure area, and one can expect that security measures will be beefed up. But we are still awaiting details of exactly how many more were injured, if there were any who were injured at all, and if the casualty count has increased or not.
Right. As far as the UN peacekeeping force there in Sudan is concerned, Surya, for some time, after south of Sudan, of course, got independence, that particular area that you are talking about, Jonglei, has seen a lot of unrest, isn't it? There has been a lot of ethnic unrest, so to say.
Has been a fair amount of violence there, raids on villages, ambushes of various kinds, killing of locals and all that. But this perhaps is the most serious as far as India is concerned, the fact that Indian peacekeepers were targeted in this manner. Of course, the larger target would have been the UN convoy, and we're not sure exactly the peacekeepers were escorting what kind of convoy. Was it a convoy carrying refugees? Was it a convoy of carrying goods, perhaps supplies to various outlying villages? We still don't know. So those details are awaited.
Right. Surya, stay with us. Let's get our viewers up to date with what has just happened. As you can see, these flashes, breaking news coming in. Indian peacekeepers were ambushed, 5 of them killed. Now remember, these soldiers were part of the peacekeeping force. They have been killed in South Sudan. The area we are talking about is Jonglei, south of Sudan, which has seen some amount of ethnic violence. Jonglei state borders Ethiopia to the east and 5 states within South Sudan, Upper Nile to the north, Unity and Lakes to the west, and Central Equatorian and Eastern Equatorian to the south. So the geography, of course, making it really a hotspot right now for ethnic violence due to infiltration. That's what our sources are telling us. Surya, the information that is coming in says that these soldiers were, of course, escorting a UN convoy. So if they were escorting a UN convoy, chances of a higher number of soldiers being injured are there, although we are not getting anything concrete right now.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, we still don't know even the identities of the soldiers. We don't know. In any case, Army headquarters would prefer to inform the relatives of the victims before making the details public. So clearly, there'll be some. We'll have to wait some more time before getting all the information. But clearly, this ambush is a little surprising also, because there's been relative peace in South Sudan since an accord between the South and North Sudan some time ago. In fact, the head of South Sudan, head of North Sudan, President Bashir, is due to visit South Sudan sometime perhaps this week. So this ambush is a little strange, perhaps even disturbing, and suggests that things are not as good as they are reported on the ground.
Right, but Surya, if you look at history, apart from that one attack on the Indian major who was shot and injured, we've not seen any major attack on Indian soldiers who are involved in peacekeeping in that area.
Well, not in South Sudan, yes. I think this is the most serious attack of its kind, and suggests that things on the ground are not as good as they are reported. We are still awaiting details of how many, if the casualty count is just that or it's more. We have no reports of any injured so far, but and there could be injured civilians also who are in the convoy. So we'll have to wait and see really how this pans out.
Right. If you're joining us right now, the breaking bit of news coming in is from South Sudan, a rather disturbing one. 5 soldiers, 5 Indian peacekeepers were part of that UN peacekeeping mission have been ambushed and killed. They were escorting a UN convoy. Of course, this happening in an area called Jonglai, which has seen a fair amount of ethnic clashes. Surya, just looking back at some of the news reports that have been coming in, there was one where the UN peacekeeping mission in South Sudan urged the government to really try to do more to protect civilians, because this, of course, in the wake of a major attack of at least 85 people in an armed attack on a migrant group of people. So these attacks have been there. So far the picture has been such that the UN peacekeeping force has been left out, particularly Indian, as one major, of course, was shot and injured.
Well, I think the very reason why you have UN peacekeepers there in South Sudan, one of course was to stop the civil war between the South and the North. The other of course is that the South administration perhaps lacks the capacity, the forces to enforce order, and so you need foreign forces there for a while at least. I think it's going to be some time before the South Sudan government is able to control the entire territory under its jurisdiction. So we could perhaps see more of this violence the days to come, but the attack on the peacekeepers certainly is disturbing.
And surprising, isn't it, Surya? As far as the conflict in South Sudan is concerned, we have been seeing inter-community, regional clashes between themselves, but attacks on foreign peacekeepers, not really known so much of.
Well, we don't hear of that, at least not on the Indians, and South Sudan until now has been fairly peaceful really, apart from the fact that the civil war is now over and there are moves now for the South and the North to sort out the issues between them, especially in terms of oil flows, etc. Those issues have been more or less ironed out. So, and even as I mentioned earlier, the president of North Sudan is now coming down to the South for an official visit. So clearly, politically, things should be moving ahead. But this ambush suggests that it's not as good as it may be reported, and there are discontented elements out there who are out to, with whatever agenda, to make their own point.